Hey guys, Rominating Reaper here. So I've just got done watching The Gorge on Apple TV Plus. This came out last month, but I only just got round to it. This is, of course, directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed Doctor Strange, Sinister, and The Black Phone. In fact, we are due a Black Phone sequel later this year. Curious as to how they'll pull that one off, but I am looking forward to seeing it. I've been hearing fairly good things about this since its release last month. It definitely looks quite interesting, sort of a mix of like action, sci-fi, and horror, with a little bit of romance thrown in there. So certainly a very interesting mix of genres. But does it actually live up to its high concept genre blend? Let's find out. So the film follows Levi and Drassa, two elite snipers who have been assigned by a mysterious contractor to watch over a gorge in an unknown location on a 1 year shift before their successor comes in and does their year. The job is simple: to watch over the gorge from a watchtower, one positioned at the west and one positioned at the east, regularly stocking up on the defences at the gorge wall to prevent what is in the gorge from getting out. However, there is one strict rule, and that is that contact with the other tower is completely off limits, which becomes a bit more complicated when Levi and Drassa begin to develop feelings for each other. So look, as far as the streaming services go, Apple TV Plus definitely has one of the better content lineups out there. You know, they've got very consistent quality. Granted, not everything is a winner. You know, this is the service that has Ghosted and Argyle, after all. That is to say, though, that this is one of the better ones. Certainly not among the finest Apple's had to offer, but it is a pretty good film. And as streaming movies go, yeah, it's probably one of the better ones. I mean, it's an absolute godsend compared to the shit show last week that was The Electric State. Seriously, how Netflix spent that much on a film that dull, I will never know. But this clearly spent a lot less than that, and is much more entertaining. So it is proof that bigger isn't necessarily better. Now, this one does take a little bit to find its footing, because obviously the opening act, we've got to very much take our time to set up the characters and the circumstances that ultimately lead to them taking the job at the Gorge. You know, you've got Levi, who's a troubled ex-marine, while Drassa is, you know, going through a tragedy of her own. And so, yes, very much, you know, taking the time to establish those circumstances that lead the characters to actually working at the gorge. And, you know, once we get the sort of exposition setting up how the job works, the film settles into a very enjoyable flow. Wherein, you know, we follow the characters along the month, you know, carrying out the job. You know, it's very much all about the job, all about the monthly cycle, and there's, you know, very little dialogue to speak of. So, you know, it is literally just the characters and the job. This stretch is very, very entertaining to watch. And it's during this, obviously, it shifts into romance, which is probably where the film is at its most enjoyable. Obviously, because there is little dialogue, the characters communicate in a method not too dissimilar from that one scene in Love Actually. And so, obviously, it is up to the actors and their body language to get that chemistry across on screen. And thankfully, we're in a more than capable hands of Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. And yeah, they pull it off. You know, they very much get that chemistry across. It allows us to buy into their relationship, and it actually gets us invested in them. You know, as we get those little bits of character development, as we learn more about them, and we very much how, you know, those past instances, you know, how they grow from there. It's all very, very entertaining, and you know, even when the dialogue does come around, Teller and Taylor-Joy, sell it very well, very well. They're both very good. In smaller roles, we also have Sigourney Weaver as the mysterious contractor who hires the both of them. We also have Scott Derrickson, who of course you'll recognize as the guy from Gangs of London. He shows up in a very small role to sort of give the exposition. And so yeah, the acting across the board is pretty good. It's a very well made film as well. The cinematography looks good overall, especially getting these like mountainside views of the characters, I guess, new workplaces. The effects look pretty good as well. I really enjoyed like the whole world within the gorge, and like the really creative creature designs as well. And there's some great use of color in those scenes as well. It's very, very well made overall, and it's topped off with great sound design and a score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, which is I really enjoyed the the sounds, the creative sounds that came from that. And a couple well placed needle drops in there too. I will say there are a couple moments of kind of wonky editing, especially early on. A particular notable point is when Levi actually parachutes into his new workplace for the first time. The editing felt kind of choppy and abrupt, but those couple moments aside, it is very well made overall. And there's some good like action moments in there as well. With some good suspense, as we've got the characters, very much fighting off the creatures of the gorge, trying to get out of there alive and in one piece. As coupled with some very well placed and very interesting and surprising reveals. The sort of slow build of the mystery is very, very interesting to see unfold. All of this to say, though, that the film becomes slightly less interesting in the final act. It very much shifts from this very interesting genre blend to just a straightforward action movie. And you know me, I'm very much an action movie enjoyer, but compared to the very interesting and creative stuff in the first two thirds, it definitely felt a lot less interesting, much more generic. Now, there are good character moments in there. There's some well placed payoffs and reveals that do end the film on a good note overall. It's just I wish they'd kept up that enjoyable flow of that whole dialogueless stretch in the middle. It is a good film overall, though I did enjoy it. And yeah, overall, The Gorge is a very solid genre mishmash that gets a fair bit of mileage out of its interesting concept, which works very well thanks to the chemistry of its two very talented leads. Just a shame it slightly drops off a bit in the final stretch. Out of 10, The Gorge gets a 7. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. Have you seen The Gorge? What did you think of it? What did you think of its handling of its mix of genres? What did you think of the final art? Did you think it dropped off in quality at all? And are you looking forward to what Scott Derrickson has coming up next? Are you looking forward to that Black Phone sequel? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.